君はヒーローになれる。
大丈夫。
次は君だ。
頑張れ。
頑張れ。
はい、頑張ります。
君は私の最高のヒーローだったよ。
It's been 10 years since the show began. It's kind of beautiful to see all of the characters you followed a decade for come together for one last time. You watch them struggle, watch them having fun, watch them at their best and worst, and now you see them hanging out, getting together and discussing about their lives and just chatting away, like real adults. This is what My Hero Academia needed. For a long time now, My Hero Academia has been one of the main faces of shonen anime. It did have its own shortcomings to compete with the new generation of shonen, which kept raising the bar again and again. And while the question of if My Hero Academia was successful at meeting that high bar is debatable, the exit was indeed one hell of a spectacle in shonen standards. Now look, if you hate My Hero Academia, I'm not gonna preach the show to you because I know. I used to hate My Hero Academia. I slam dunked and trolled on so many fans on Twitter, but now this show has slam dunked on me. My Hero Academia has always had a fresh, inoffensive feeling to it, and it kept holding it down till the end, while delivering what it always was meant to deliver in the final arcs. Once we complained nothing's happening, and now every minute there's something big happening. Some emotional moments, some absolute adrenaline-driving phenomenal moments, and some moments that brought a conclusion to a decade long of a journey. This series had a lot of ups and downs, be it characters not getting spotlight, inconsistency, pacing, some episodes feeling like slog filler, be it school concert because why not? You can look at season 5 and just point out 5 major flaws of the story. And all of those ups and downs once left me confused about what to even feel about the show, and I'm gonna be honest, I almost dropped it. But despite of all of its weaknesses and fall-offs, this show absolutely had its deserved peaks. And it is time that we turn a new leaf and bid a farewell to a show that has gone on for a decade. It's surprising how much of a nostalgia this show hits for me. The time I found this series for the first time, the hype I felt listening to the opening song for the first time, the memorable tournament arc, entry of Stain, All Might vs All for One. Every moment you say run came up. Your next is still a massive memorable moment which is now memed to shit. My Hero Academia had some iconic moments that still will be strong as hell in the anime industry, and the impact and mark these moments left are too visible to unsee. And it's great to see all these kinds of moments come together and amplify the series' grand finale, which in my opinion had the best direction possible for it. Every big moment had 10 years of emotion behind it. Almost every character got the redemption they needed. Most of the characters got their own satisfactory conclusion. The Endeavor arc was one of the most beautifully handled arcs in the show. The Todoroki family is actually how you write side characters. A dad who is trying to fix the family that he built purely on toxic relationships. Did he disappoint his family? Yes. He was a terrible father, he was a terrible husband, and everything that the family goes through is just his fault. But then he stops giving excuses and tries to fix what is left of the family. And I'm not saying that in the end he redeems himself as a dad or as a husband, but how he comes around as a person and just tries to be there for his family, it is legit heartwarming. He might not be accepted as the number one, but in my opinion he was the number one in terms of character progression. And talking about number one, All Might was incredible. Throughout the past few seasons, I had so many doubts with All Might, how he should be in the show. If him being there just ruins the show. But the final season just completely proved me wrong. There was a meaning behind All Might being there till the end. And his moment of smiling through an unwinnable condition and everyone in the world looking at him with the last bit of hope, that is gonna be one memorable aura moment. There was meaning behind his existence. Him holding down the torch until the new generation is ready is so amazing to watch, and a very powerful experience indeed. And other small moments like Gentle Criminal giving his everything, Lady Nagant firing her last few shots, it felt like a callback or a montage of the 10 years of continuation. It felt like everything had finally paid off. And as an audience, getting that kind of feeling from a show's ending is a really big thing. It's surreal to think that finally this series has come to an end. And if you think about it, the world building and concept of My Hero Academia was really a big reason for it. A world where everyone can be a hero and saving people is not about power but education. What people want is not the strongest person but a symbol. And what happens if one person with no powers at all becomes that hope one day? This concept is built for Shonen. The only fault in that field is that the story kind of loses it in the middle, but eventually it cleaned things up pretty well. And villains are there just as juxtaposition of the heroes. If heroes are bringing hope, then villains are just people who lost the hope. And what really is a hero? A person who saves people from villains, or a person who also saves villains who are just broken people? And as cliche it might sound, I absolutely love this side of My Hero Academia. Everything kind of started to make sense in the last few seasons. You see the characters grow, you finally see the high stakes. You see so much of chaos and emotions which once lost direction finally culminate into something big. The show doesn't shy away from taking a dark tone, because hope can only shine in a cluster of hopelessness. And Midoriya is, in my opinion, the best protagonist for this concept. This might become a very unpopular opinion and you might want to kill me, but listen to me. From season 1, the show has always been hinting at Midoriya as a to-be #1 hero and carrying All Might's legacy. Which is a very normal stereotypical approach to a protagonist, especially in Shonen. Let's give the protagonist plot armor because protagonist. Let's give him very convenient powers because protagonist. Let's make a plot line where he will win with the power of Nakama and emotions because protagonist. But the final arc really started to take things seriously. You see him having serious massive meltdowns. The show finally focuses on how much expectations he has been shouldering and gives you the reality that he is still a kid. People got his back and not everything he does has to be a lonely process. So yes, it was the power of Nakama, but it is handled so well. You cannot deny that in Shonen, it is the friendship moments that become most memorable. It is very refreshing to see that one good old Shonen element done right. And not just right, but the best way possible. Midoriya did have a very slow and bumpy road for progression, but in the end, it somewhat did pay off. Him losing his powers and becoming a school teacher had a meaning to it. You see, Midoriya doesn't really need powers. And I mean, that's how it always has been. Once he was that kid with no powers who jumped in to help people without hesitation. Even when he couldn't even use One for All properly, he still shined the brightest. And sharing that light by passing it down to the next generation is how he chose to end his story, just like how it began for him. A protagonist doesn't always mean a super powerful character who will always have an immaculate character progression. You see Midoriya for who he is because Bakugo exists, All Might exists, Ochako exists, and so many characters bring a meaning to Midoriya becoming a hero. That's the fresh definition of protagonist Midoriya brings. And I have to mention some things about Bakugo as well. This character was the one I hated the most, but it only took few small moments for the story to make me look at him differently. Especially Bakugo for the first time apologized to Deku. And also the time when he cried when Midoriya lost his quirk. The depth Bakugo's character had was really unexpected to me. And it did become one of the highlights for me in all of the series because that was something very heart-touching. Overall, every character in the class had a great ending to them. Everyone had their moments to shine, and it is sad that the show took this long to finally realize them. It took a long while to finally give all these characters a meaning, all these quirks to be used to their full potential. But I cannot deny that the show in the end did deliver what it needed to. A time skip where all the characters are grown up. The school kids who once talked about having fun and were busy being goofy and chasing dreams are now having get-togethers and talking about their job. And every character did have their own growth. And when I look at this last special episode, I think nothing fits My Hero Academia more than this. Yes, Midoriya did not become the #1 hero, but I do not care. I really do not care about all these hero rankings. Friends parted ways. Every character decided to chase for their dreams and goals in the future. Everyone does their own thing and finally can be happy with their own lives. My Hero Academia did suffer from having too many characters, but yet in the end these characters' grown-up talk hit everything home. I never thought I would care this much about the side characters, but I did. And I can finally say, My Hero Academia has redeemed itself. Honestly, everyone has won. We as audience have won. Midoriya has won. This one guy didn't win. Much deserved. This little purple blob shit. And now let's hit the reality home. It was a beautiful journey. And this is the last time I'm gonna listen to you say run. I never thought I'd say this as a reformed My Hero Academia hater, but I will somewhat miss the presence of My Hero Academia. But that is the beauty of anime, making you attached to a fiction that became one with your life. Within some few moments you relate to the characters, things about life that these characters represent, the things that these characters live through and fight through. It is really a beautiful feeling. And in the end, My Hero Academia was successful at doing just that.